Good morning, everybody. This is Joe, and today we are the fourth set of battle, but today it is dealing with issues. And right now, it's important to understand this stuff. It's important to look at this stuff about dealing with issues. And the last couple of weeks, we was dealing with issues. We're dealing with the personal issues. We're dealing with everything we need to deal with. And today, I'm going to show you in the scripture about how dealing with the issues. If you open up the Bible to Luke chapter 15, verse 31, and it goes like this. And he said to him, "Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours." The father is talking to the youngest son because he says, listen, everything I own is yours. Because he left the beginning. Remember back, and I told you back in Luke chapter 15, verse 11 through 13, when the youngest son wanted his inheritance. And the last week I showed you when he came back, the older brother was very angry with the father because he said, you throwing him a party after he wanted his inheritance, and he lived wildly and he lived crazy. Now something you telling him now that everything is his. Everything is his, and now I don't get nothing. And so this is an issue between our brother and the brother. Now the father, son, and the youngest son, you can have anything you want because now it's ours. It's yours, it's mine, mine is yours. That's it. It's always being his. So this is the stuff that we deal with every day. This is the stuff that we have to understand. We can't deal with issues like this because when we deal with issues like this, we feel as though it's like teaching a moment, meaning we deal with issues because we deal with everybody's issues, everybody's problem. But not once anybody came and said, listen, sit down with me. Let me hear what's going on with you. Tell me what's going on with your issues. What's going on with your problem? What's going on with everything? And in the way it says, did he have time to talk to his older son about his issues? No, he didn't. He just tell the youngest son what he wants to hear. And this is the wrong thing to do it, because if you do that, guess what? Then you don't have respect for your child. You don't. Because this is the issues that now the older brother is having. So, anyways, besides that, we need to look at ourselves and say to ourselves, listen, we have to deal with our issues, with our personal issues, and not to hit our issues for anybody. Now, before I finish this segment, this series, next week I'm finish up the series of battle, but fighting with your parents. And it's dealing with the issues. It's still dealing with the issues. Now, Exodus chapter 25, verse 22. Moses is dealing with God, and he's asking God to help. Exodus chapter 25, verse 22, he says, "And there I will meet with you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy of Set, from between the two compass which are on the ark of the testimony, above everything which I gave in you in a commandment to the children of Israel." See, God saw an issue growing when Moses took the Israelites out of Egypt. What did they do? They were throwing a party. Joshua built a statue of a bull, saying that was God, and that was in God. So God told Moses, you need to come up, because I want to speak with you, because I have to give you to start writing the 10 Commandments to understand what all the issue needs to be done with and deal with. And he wasn't playing no more. I mean, this is something that we have to deal with every day. This is the stuff that we have to learn and how to deal with these issues, because God is willing to take those responsibilities. He says, listen, I'm here. Any issues you have, you can come and talk to me. But if God has an issue with you and a problem with you, he will talk to you through the scriptures. And sometimes we have to sit and listen when he has to say. Because he speaks to us with a calmly voice. But if we don't sit down and listen to him, guess what? We're going to be stuck with the same issue over and over again, without knowing what's the issue going on. And that is the part of our life, and that's the part of our problem that we have to realize and look at, that we have to deal with these issues. Because if we don't deal with these issues, guess what? We never gonna learn what's going on. And I'm gonna show you what Jesus had to deal with the Jewish and the Pharisees. Jesus had to deal with the Pharisees with their issues about marriage and divorce. And then I'm gonna show you Jacob about his issue for stealing his brother's blessing. And he's frustrated because he didn't know how to deal with the issues. And he wrestled with God about his issues. I'm gonna show you those scriptures. But the thing is my point is that we have to understand our issues and our standby and what's our position of the matter. Number one, this is my 3 point, but number one, when we deal with our issues, we have to deal with it calmly, respectfully, in a cool head. We can't get mad and frustrated, start talking nonsense, being angry, and you're not going to resolve your issue or your problems, because we're not going to do that. Remember Luke chapter 15 verse 31, the father told the youngest son, everything is mine is yours. It's always being here for you. But it's like he didn't appreciate his older son for working on the farm, but yet he appreciated the youngest son because he left, did what he had to do, and come back begging to come home. That is the issue that we have to deal with every day. That's the issue that we have to understand. Listen, we can't deal with these issues all the time, because we need to sit down and have a calm conversation to deal with the issue, and be, and tell them how everybody feels, and tell everybody what you feel from the inside. Don't sugarcoat nothing. Don't hide your issues, because once you hide your issues and you don't know how to deal with your issues, guess what? You're gonna have a problem, and then from the small problem you have comes to a bigger problem that nobody can help you solve. And that's one thing that shouldn't be done with like that. And I'm going to show you David, Psalm 62, verse 1 through 5. David is talking about his issues. David is talking about his issues. And the one thing I love what David says. David says like that, Psalm 62, verse 1 through 5. He says, truly my soul is silent. Wait for God from his come. My salvation, he only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defender. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will you attack a man? You shall be slain, all of you. Like a learning war in a turning fancy, then only a consultant to cast him down from his high position. They delight in lies, they blast with their mouth, but they curse inward. My soul waits silent for God only, for my experience is for him. See, David says, listen, you got people cursing at me, blessing themselves towards me, and I'm not going to be moving for nobody. I'm not going to be moving for nobody, because God's my refuge. In the same scripture, God's my refuge. God's my rock. God is my defender. God is my counsel. God is his lawyer. You see, he says, if your heart is silent, truly silent, you can actually talk to God, and God will talk to you how to deal with your issues. Don't hide from your issue. Don't run from your issues. Listen to God and have God help you with your issue. Talk to God and say, listen, God, I have an issue. I have a problem. I need your help to help me to deal with my problem and deal with my issues, because if you don't help me, then I would never know how to deal with my issues. And now, this is the stuff that we have to deal with every day about these issues. And deal with this is more than you know. It's more than you know. Like Moses back in Exodus chapter 25, verse 22, God told Moses, you have to come up to the mountain, because he said, I have to talk to you about your problem and your issues and I see on earth that I don't like. You don't want to be that big brother. And Luke is mad and angry because he don't sit down and talk to anybody about his issues. Now, Matthew chapter 19. Chapter 19, when the Pharisees is testing Jesus about marriage and divorce, and this is the issues that Jesus had to deal with. Look at verse 1. Now it came to pass, when Jesus had finished those saying, that he departed from Galilee and came to the region of Judea beyond the Jordan, and great multitude followers follow him, and he healed them there. The Pharisee also came to him, testing him and saying to him, it is lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason. And he answered and said to them, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made male and female, and said, for the reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let that man separate. They said to him, why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and put her away? And he said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permit you to divorce your wife, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality in marriage, other commit adultery, and whoever marry her who is divorced commit adultery. His disciples said to him, if such is the case, such a case of the man with his wife, it is better not married. See, this is the stuff that Jesus had to deal with. And the Pharisees testing Jesus, and Jesus says, listen, you don't remember when my father created Adam and Eve? Or when he talked to Abraham and tell Abraham he had to leave his mother and father's house, go with his wife somewhere else to become one flesh, to concentrate in your marriage, to be in one flesh, let nobody interfere, that way you don't have no issues in your life. He said, because the reason why Moses did that, because he said, you guys had a heart and heart. The reason why you asked me this question is because you have a girlfriend and you don't know how to deal with your issues, and you don't know how to tell your wife you want to leave them, because you figured that if you tell them you get a divorce, you think it's a piece of cake and that's what you want. He said, no, you stay in your marriage, you work at your marriage, you deal with your issue in your marriage. And so that's a powerful statement that Jesus said. So his disciple says, also, it's better not to get married. Jesus like, man, listen, it's good to get married, because when you deal with an issue, you could deal with the issue with your loved ones. Through me, you could deal with your issues. But if you want to run and divorce a woman, and then your ex-wife gave you married to someone, you committed adultery because you divorced your wife, and now your wife is committing adultery because you didn't know how to deal with your issues in the beginning. So this is the stuff that the people don't understand. This is how we deal with the issues every day, because we don't deal with the issues that's on our hands. The second part of the issue is the issues. We have to sit down and discuss our issues, our problems, our feelings, our emotions with a cool, calm head. Talk to God. God is your salvation. God is your rock. God is He's your counsel. He's your defender. He's not going to let nothing happen to you if you sit down and discuss your issues. That's number 2. Sit down and discuss your issues. Because if you don't sit down and discuss your issues, guess what? You're going to be stuck in the same situation, the same problem over and over again, with not listening what the scripture says. Now, Genesis chapter 32, verse 20 through 22. And this is Jacob. And I'm going to show you how Jacob dealing with his issues after he took his brother's blessing. And then in verse 20, chapter 32, verse 20, in this way it says, and also he said, behold, your servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appreciate him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. So the present went on over before him, but he himself locked that night in the camp. He locked himself in the camp. And he arose that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 family servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the fold of Jabbok. Now, see, Jacob had to leave and took his family in the other side of the land because he didn't know how to deal with his issues. He didn't know how to deal with his issues. But in the same scripture, verse 23 all the way through 26, he was wrestling with God. And God discolorated his hip for his joint because he didn't know how to deal with his issues. And his issues was with his brother Esau for taking his blessing after his mother told him dress up like Esau and take his blessing because his mother hated Esau. See, this is stuff, and this is 3 or 4 years later, and I'm showing you in Genesis 33 verse 4 where Esau forgave Jacob. And now Esau is going to meet his new sister-in-law. He's going to meet his niece and nephews because Esau was so angry he didn't know how to deal with his issues. But Jacob is suffering because he didn't know how to deal with his issues. He didn't know how to talk to God. He didn't have nobody to talk to. His wife couldn't help him with his issues. So this is the stuff that God says, this is the stuff that we have to deal with every day. And it's like every day in our lives. We have to deal with our issues, our personal issues. It could be a good issue, it could be a bad issue. Don't hide your issues because that's the thing that everybody don't realize. Everybody has issues today. For today's society, everybody has issues. Everybody don't know how to deal with the issues, but we all have issues. And the issue is that we need to learn how to deal with them head on before it hurt us. And now look at verse 33 in Genesis, verse 33, verse 4. And he says, but Esau ran to him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. You know what that is? When you ran and see your brother, and you haven't seen your brother in years, and you said, listen, I forgive you. You kiss him. Y'all both fall down. You kiss him. Asking for forgiveness of that understanding. I mean, that is a beautiful part because Esau dealt with his issue. Jacob didn't know how to deal with his issue. But when he saw his brother hug him, kiss him, embrace him, Esau knew how to control his situation. He knew how to control his issues. He talked to God about his issues. And this is the stuff that we need to learn how to deal with these issues. Because if we don't deal with this issue, there's going to be a stronghold in our life that we don't know how to deal with them. And we let it build up. Instead of saying, listen, I have a problem. I have an issue that we need to solve right now. My third thing is, do not let your issues concern you. Because once you let your issue concern you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be stuck with the same problem, same everything, same doing. You don't know how to escape from the same problem of your life, aspects of your life. That's the issue. We have to deal with our issues head on that way. But God says it, like David says in Psalms, God is your counsel. He's your defender. He's your salvation. He is your refuge. He is your rock. He is your rock. He's our rock. He's everybody's rock. And especially if you read Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 30, Jesus says, lay your problems and your issues on top of me and take my yoke for you can rest and relax your mind, relax your edges, relax everything, and he will take care of it. So my thing is, let God help us with your issues. Let him help you. He wants you to rest. He wants you to be focused. But if you don't let him help you with your issues, you're going to be stuck. I'd rather let God help me with the issues than being stuck. Next week, our final installment of battle, it will be fighting with parents, meaning the kids fight with their parents. And this is Joe. God bless and Godspeed.